Record to the computer. All right, so thank you all for joining today. We've got our Salesforce for Insurance panel discussion. I can't believe it's 2022, and Pomi and I have been working hard to get lots of topics on the conversations coming up here in the next few months. So make sure that you continue to go back, and we'll continue to update you guys as we continue to get additional topics going on. Today, I have a panel discussion, and really it's, we normally do like presentations, if you will, but today's kind of an open discussion. I brought on some, heavy hitters who really know what's going on. We've got people with the Partner Advisory Board for Insurance who are on. That is a new thing that actually just came out recently over the last couple of months. I think you guys just met last quarter was your first meeting maybe. And so kind of wanted to get a little bit of insight into that, if you guys have that, and then just kind of talk about the topics for this year. What are our challenges? What are the shiny new objects that people are seeing in 2022? And I'm also going to share this feedback back with the broader audience at Salesforce too. I have a meeting on the calendar with them on Friday to kind of walk through some of these things. So any and all comments here are awesome and welcome, because we are actually able to feed that information back to product, and maybe you'll get to see it at some point in upcoming releases and things. So big thank you to all of you who are here. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day. I know that things get really busy as we're continuing to work remotely from home. Maybe some of you are back in the office a little bit here and there, but I appreciate you guys taking time over, depending on what time zone you're in, maybe your lunch hour, to do a little lunch and learn, or a little coffee with us as we talk through some of these topics. So thank you all. And again, this is us trying to succeed together. So I really would encourage you all to just be open with the conversations today, and really express the challenges that you're having. There might be someone else on the call who works for a different company or works for a partner or something that's seen an issue that you've had in the past. So we would love to be able to help find you guys solutions and just make us all successful together as a group. So want to do a quick run of introductions, just kind of go around the room, say who you are, what your particular role is at the company and the company that you're with, and then we'll start that group discussion. It'll probably, 25 minutes ish, but if we go longer, fantastic. I do have this blocked for an hour for you all, but if we end up going a little bit short, that's okay too. And then we'll just make some additional general announcements after the fact on some upcoming meetings and things that we've got going on. So with that, I can just kind of go through a general introductions if we want to. I've obviously been talking a lot. So Danielle Laffey, I am one of the co-leaders here for the insurance group for Salesforce. I've been in the insurance space for quite a bit of time. Actually, I picked it officially as my major a couple of years ago, but I've had clients in the consulting space actually for 7 or 8 years now in total. And I've been with the Salesforce platform for embarrassingly almost 18 years, 19 years, somewhere around there. Started in 2003. So it's 2022, which is crazy. Yeah, so I don't know, Pomi, if you want to go next, and then we can just kind of quick round robin around the room just to say who you are, and then we'll get started.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I'm Pomi Singh. I co-lead this group with Danielle. I've been very excited and very happy to kind of bring these conversations together as we all explore and kind of continue to push in the Salesforce space and see all the different solutions. I am CEO and co-founder of HIP10. We are a Salesforce SI, and so I kind of work on carrier solutions and brokerage solutions in the space. And yeah, we're excited to hear the insights that we have today. And maybe I'll call on Mike to kind of keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, Mike Peel, Exceed Consulting Group. I lead our financial services practice. I spent a decade of my career, a little over that, actually on the carrier side, being a client of Salesforce, and have consulted back into financial services organizations with a real strong focus in insurance for about the next 12 years or so. So a lot of depth. Very happy to be here.
Awesome.
Amanda, why don't you go next?
Awesome. Hello, everybody. Amanda Soma. I am VP of Professional Services here at Zenify, and I am also part of the Insurance Partner Advisory Group this year with Salesforce, which is really awesome and exciting. And I have been in and out of the insurance industry for probably about 30 years, and it always just keeps pulling me back in. So it's a space that I really enjoy. And I think, Danielle, you said 2003 for Salesforce. That's when I started in Salesforce as well, which makes me feel really old at this point in time.
Awesome. Who would like to go next?
I can go. This is Nicole McGuire. I am work here at Silverline as I am a senior director in the insurance side. And so basically I've come 20 years from college in computer science, technical architect, started as a developer, worked away into technical architect, and now leading the delivery side of the house for here at Silverline.
And you're also part of the Partner Advisory Board, if I remember correctly.
I am with Amanda.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for joining today
Yep.
to lead our discussion. I appreciate it very much.
Nice. I'll call on Stuart, who I see next.
Hi, I'm Stuart Adeel. I am a lead architect at Thrivent Financial in Minneapolis, Appleton, Wisconsin. We are a large nationwide financial advisor, and also we sell insurance for our members. And first time caller, long time listener. I hope to learn a lot today. Thanks.
Awesome.
Lisa, have you talked yet? You introduce yourself?
I have not. My name is Lisa Denoya. I am a co-founder of Port and Starboard. We are a consulting practice. We focus on Salesforce and also WordPress and web development. So we do a lot of front-end web to Salesforce integrations for clients and a lot of Salesforce custom apps. We work primarily with insurance agencies, independent agencies recently. So we were working with, I don't know, around over the last couple of years, probably between 20 and 30 different agencies, varying in size from 5 to about 200 people. So yeah, we come in and kind of fix a lot of random problems and design a lot of custom apps for people and fix some meeting business processes. So that's where we focus. I will tag Jeff. He is my business partner.
Hello, everybody. Jeff Werby here in Virginia Beach. Everything that Lisa said, really excited about Salesforce insurance and getting to hear more about what you guys do. Thank you.
Yeah, just a quick call out for Lisa and her team. I've seen some really cool solutions that we talked about at the end of last year, and I'm going to beg her to come and talk and actually show a couple of those solutions here coming up in the next couple of months. So make sure that you all keep away for that. Hopefully I can talk her into doing it. Everyone can give her a little nudge today to say, yes, we want to see her stuff. She's got some really cool things with WordPress, and I was just super impressed with it all. So I'm super excited to hopefully get you guys to show.
Jeff, you were supposed to tag a person.
Sorry, I don't know who got tagged, but I could see Stuart on my screen, so I'm going to tag Stuart. He has a beard, and I like that.
Stuart already went, I think. How about Alexandra?
Who else has a beard?
Oh, beards. Fred normally has a beard.
I don't have a beard, Jeff. I'm Alexandra. I'm on the Port and Starboard team. I'm over here in San Diego, so I am our West Coast part. So I'm in camera off because it's breakfast time for me right now. And I do all of our operations. And so I also help, like Nicole was saying, some of that delivery side for our insurance agencies. Oh, I forgot to tag someone. I'm so sorry. Heather, I just saw you pop up. Your turn.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Rinke. I'm on the Salesforce practice team at Serconte. We're a Salesforce and Pardot partner, and we have several clients that we support in the insurance space. So I've been, I think, like a number of you that have already gone. I've been in the Salesforce space for a number of years now. I want to say about 10. Before being on the consulting side, I was on the client side too. So I'm just happy to be here today, happy to meet you all and connect and hear from you all on what you're doing in the space. I will pick Alyssa.
Hey, I am also on the Port and Starboard team. I'm the digital strategist, and I help a lot with the WordPress to Salesforce integrations, mapping and all that fun stuff. So I'm interested, excited to learn more. And I tag Gabe.
Hi, I'm Gabe. Recent Salesforce Pathfinder graduate, so still kind of new to the Salesforce space, but I am starting my 3rd week now with Port and Starboard. So excited to learn from all of you with so much experience and knowledge, and yeah, just be a sponge. Oh, and I need to tag someone. Let's see who's next. Participants. I'll tag Fred.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Fred Cadena. I'm a partner at IBM focused on financial services, Salesforce practice. Been in the Salesforce ecosystem a little over 20 years. Excited to be here. I don't know what to say.
You want to tag somebody?
Oh, sure. Let's go with Chelsea.
Hello, my name's Chelsea Courtney. I also work at Port and Starboard as a lead Salesforce consultant. I've been in the Salesforce ecosystem since 2020, and then in this past maybe 9 months or so, gotten into more of the insurance aspect, helping build out an org for a client. And I'm scarfing down some lunch before I have another meeting to build insurance related reports. So lots of insurance business today. But I will tag Michael. Maybe.
Everyone gets to fill in the bingo card for, sorry, I was on mute. So you get the bingo space covered for that one. I'm Michael Mallett. I'm a member of the Exceed Financial Services team with Mike. Sorry, I'll get the camera going here. With Mr. Peel, and been working on the platform now, gosh, 15 years, similar to some other folks. Started on the customer side, and really just here to learn more about what's going on in the insurance space and make sure I'm up to date on all the great things we're doing on the platform. So looking forward to it. Thanks. We'll tag who has let's see, Lawrence Taylor, have you gone?
Well, thank you. Lawrence Taylor from HIP10, based in Jacksonville, Florida. We do insurance solutions for carriers and agencies, brokers. Been in the space about 7 years. Never imagined I would work in insurance, but here we are. So happy days. I'm going to try for Mike P. Hill. Have you been?
Yep, I ran at the beginning.
Oh, my apologies.
I think we're down to Nikki and Ravant.
Yep.
I can go. This is Nikki. So I manage an insurance agency in St. Louis that uses Salesforce as a management system. We've been a Salesforce client for probably 8 to 10 years, but went through the conversion of Classic to Lightning and service the Financial Services Cloud to about probably a year ago. So just looking forward to further hear how you guys are all using Salesforce to further your business in the insurance industry. So it's nice to meet you guys.
Thanks, Nikki. That's a big undertaking a year ago, switching from one
Yeah.
place to the other. Yeah, that's,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure that you had a couple of battle wounds and hopefully are really happy now. So
Yeah, we are. Thank you.
Ravon? Okay, I'm not sure if he's there or not. So we can go ahead and why don't we go ahead and get started with the group discussion. Thank you all for introducing yourselves. Excited to have an open discussion again. This is, I've got a couple of people on here who I kind of tagged as leaders and we'll be kind of starting with them, but I would love for all of you guys to bring ideas to the table of what you all are doing as well. So just the first question that I had for you all are just what are your current challenges that you're seeing in the space today in 2022? If you're a partner and you're working with clients all the time, you know, what are your clients having issues with as you guys are going through solutions and the ever evolving space? What are the current challenges that you guys are facing at this point in time? Not everyone go at once.
So I'll jump in here. Some of the biggest current challenges we see is really getting the customers, the clients to have very old back-end systems. And so they're used to being able to run even a lot of different calculations and a lot of different pieces because they're on the server. They're right there on the server. They get all of those resources. And so they can do some of these heavier calculations and it's fast and it looks great, but now they're moving out to the cloud. And so some of the challenges I'm seeing is really the slowness or even just having them rethink, like, is all of this really that important? Do we need to do, every time you make a little change, do you need to call back to the server to do a calculation, or can we do it more as a button or something as that? And really having them rethink their, how they're processing, what's important, what are those values that are most important to them because of this. Obviously you have the client server relationship now going on. How do we streamline that better? How do we, that's just a challenge. And how do we change that mindset to go after what's most important to the customer instead of, always having all these very heavy calculations? Is it really necessary any longer? Trying to think and work leaner if in a way. So that's some of the challenges that we've been facing. I don't know if others have seen that also.
Yeah. Nicole, I'll echo that.
Yeah.
I've got a current client that is an insurtech. They're 2 years old, 120 excuse me, 120 people, give or take, and they're trying to grow extremely quickly. And to a large extent, a lot of what they've been doing with their product team, which unlike most of us, right, their product team isn't actuaries, it's IT architects and whatnot. A lot of what they're doing on their product in the roadmap, Salesforce can do now on platform. So as we start thinking about some of the FSC for insurance and some of the add-on solutions like Ivan's integration that was added a couple quarters ago, like a lot of those things, we're still seeing the insurance market kind of across the board looking at Salesforce's CRM only and not starting to evaluate some of those newer capabilities that really do compete with things that have traditionally been delivered in a client server or even a mainframe basis.
And are you seeing any of those challenges there though too, with like some of those heavier calculations? Either they want every little change to calculate because they were used to doing that on mainframe, or shifting them more to like what's important?
Yeah, so it's we haven't seen it at that level where we're trying to like go through and recalculate policy admin like in real time. If especially like you see that a lot in cases of like an indexed annuity product or an indexed insurance product where position or mutual fund changes and go recalculate so you have the current amounts. Where we'll see it more is around production rollups on the agent hierarchy. So based on, the upline and who sold the product and when the premium is coming in, if it's a monthly premium situation, like how do you gain credit throughout the agent hierarchy? And on that side, we've always kind of felt like the killer feature is being able to give, especially in non-captive, a little bit more important, but being able to give the agents and the agencies, or the producers, distributors, depending on what your language is, being able to give them the ability to forecast their commissions. What I'm going to get paid 2 months from now, because it's an annual contract and I'm going to sell some stuff, and let's lay all that out. So that we've seen more of it from a calculation perspective on taking production information and cascading it up the hierarchy.
And all of those commission splits and all of that they want to see. That's
right. That's right. And then we end up with the discussion around is the agent and policy hierarchy, are those the same thing or are they different? Is the complexity of the hierarchy that's in place complex enough so that it really isn't the same thing as the Salesforce account hierarchy?
Right.
So that's a spot where we continue to see have those conversations.
Interesting.
And I think, just to echo what both of you are saying, I think that if we take a lens and we kind of back out a little bit, I think data continues to be one of the bigger challenges, right? Of you've got maybe a Salesforce front end, but you've got multiple integrations to back end systems, which has a lot of legacy data. So that flows into some of the calculation piece, but just even determining what data is needed for whom and what are they using that for and how are they using that data, and really using it in a timely way and that it's beneficial to the end customer. And I think data is continuing to be a challenge across all industries, but I think with a lot of insurers, particularly as business models are changing, that it proves to be fairly robust challenge to be tackling today.
Are you guys seeing a change or kind of a shift from because we've talked a lot about the agents and those kind of being the end user that you're servicing at this point, as opposed to that end policy holder? Are you guys, I guess, additional challenges that go along with that, or solutions that go around that? Is that kind of a shift difference from where we were a couple of years ago with Salesforce and just being the CRM only? I feel like we've kind of come a long way over the last couple of years from what I can tell on being able to service those agents, but it still continues to be a little bit of a struggle. I know that I've had conversations with people who are like, why on earth would I use Salesforce for, XYZ thing? The only thing they do is CRM and that's it. And I guess changing that mindset in and around it. How do you guys talk with your clients or internally to those of you who are actually working with the agencies directly to use Salesforce in that manner?
So I'll bite on this one first. Across our client base, we're not necessarily seeing that the challenges in captive or non-captive agency distribution are increasing. We spend a lot of time talking about it because it's, if we move to direct to consumer, we don't see things like the agent hierarchies, and so the complexity starts to drop. But on that side, what we do see is a lot more diversification of distribution models. So if you are direct to consumer, is there an agency play? So we're seeing that, or vice versa. You have an agency distribution model, and now you want to go to an affiliate distribution model in addition, or direct to consumer as well. So we'll see that, and that certainly has some challenges inside of Salesforce. But how we go through and architect that is not as complex as some of the other topics we were talking about a little bit ago.
Yeah.
The big spot that we'll see as it relates to growth of the system and thinking about it not just being CRM, like that next step typically for us ends up being looking at the portals and that exist and starting to not being able to take a static website that's out there. It might be authenticated, there might be a couple of forms you can download, but turning that into a full-blown self-service portal. And again, depending on who the persona is that's logging in, different transactions for an agent or a broker versus a policyholder. But that is kind of the next big piece. On occasion, we get asked questions like, can Salesforce do case tracking? Which the answer is, we all know on this call, like yes. And we have a whole bunch of years and years of Gartner reports that say that it's the best, platform on the planet, going back like 10 years with Service Cloud. But being able to then start to extend that into the community space, now Experience Cloud, build all those transactions once, expose in many places, a lot faster time to market. That's typically the next conversation that we end up having, as far as where can you take the platform next if we're only thinking about it as being CRM for like agent or sales management.
Yeah. That self-service is so important these days. Everyone is used to having everything immediately. Nicole, you were talking about times and calculations and how people can get something right at their fingertips. How are you guys seeing that could be like the time that it takes for people to actually get information into their fingertips, and also making sure that the sharing models and security and all of that kind of stuff is correct? Does anyone have any thoughts on the trends that they're seeing there from that?
Yeah, that's where I was just going to jump in on that too, because me and my flex cards.
And there's probably people on the call who don't even know what a flex card is. So what is? Can you explain what a flex card is?
So with the what Salesforce is now and what used to be Velocity. Is the new digital process automation tools. And so one of those being flex cards, and specifically with the latest release of DPA, what they call DPA, is even at more advanced things that you can do, like being able to do inputs with your flex cards, which then means that we don't always have to do an Omni script, which is another like flow driven piece of DPA or the Velocity tool set. And what that means is that we can do simpler forms, or take that data, even call out to systems, get an answer back, do a credit check, do some kind of check against their account, or do something if we need to, as the agent is entering that data, go look up business information, pull that all back at their fingertips. And all of that's being done with the new digital platform, automation platform stuff. So what we call old Velocity, but yeah, so it's super cool. Super excited about it. If you haven't played with it or looked at the Omni Studio developer trailheads, I would recommend going and playing with that, because it just cuts your development time down greatly. So it's pretty darn cool. And
it also helps from a profile security, it makes it so it's not quite as complex, correct? Because depending on the situation of where you are and who you are presented different information. So you don't have to, do that kind of standard read-only type info, or make what would be like 1,000-page layouts.
Right. With all your different scenarios or profile views or audiences, and right. So then it dynamically pulling back logos that we've done, or pulling back the different pieces depending on what type of data you're looking to get. So yeah, it's pretty darn cool. And then it's all configurable. So very little times have we needed to go and write code. There are some cases where we do. There's still some customization or custom LWCs we need to write, but that's getting fewer and fewer. And even the back end where we pull data. So before we'd have to hit Apex and do select statements, pull the data together. That can be all done with Data Raptors, which is a form of like a SQL, that's showing my Microsoft days, or SOQL, kind of pulling that combinations together. Those what am I looking for there? But my brain's not working. But pulling those different select group buys and stuff together, and that's all done through configuration, which is just even that much more exciting. So
awesome.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody else on this call has played with flex cards, but no, Amanda has. Mike has.
Oh, I mean, like we'll get requests from our clients, but like looking at standard insurance transactions, like the ability to self-serve and request a certificate of insurance. Recent client took a look and said, you know, we've got the ability to intake it through a static form, the request, we create a case, somebody looks at it internally, has to hit 3 or 4 systems. We get about 50 of these a month, give or take, and it takes us, I want to say the stat was about 8 to 12 minutes per request to go pull the information together, use Adobe to generate it, and then email it back. Like that's a spot where, you know, again, thinking about Salesforce not just being a CRM in the insurance space anymore, there's actually a downloadable process to do that. You know, so there still is some integration that needs to be done to those back-end systems, but we don't need to start the consulting engagement from scratch for standard processes like that. So it's really exciting to go in and have that conversation with the client when they're, you know, maybe looking at other approaches and their internal operation costs and trying to grow where their, you know, their costs are, you know, don't grow as quickly as their revenue. Being able to come in and provide that sort of capability out of the gate is really, really exciting for us.
Hey, Danielle, I've got a question, you know, kind of follow up, you know, Mike and Amanda. I think everybody, Nicole maybe even said it, everybody keeps on talking about data and where to get it from these external systems.
Yeah.
And I know Salesforce owns MuleSoft. And so, you know, we've looked at that, you know, in a handful of cases to see, you know, is there a possibility to use MuleSoft to kind of get this data out of these legacy systems and then be able to pull it into Salesforce easy. Obviously, you can do direct, you know, point-to-point integrations, and that's great until everything breaks. Is anybody doing anything other than using MuleSoft or you know, some other ETL or other manual solution to be able to get this data into Salesforce easily? You know, I look at the thing that everybody in, you know, I apologize if somebody from Ivans is on here, but you know, Ivans is like this, you know, it's a problem for everybody because the data isn't standardized, and getting it out and getting it into Salesforce is problematic. So just curious if anybody's doing anything aside from using MuleSoft, looking at MuleSoft, or are there other solutions that are good?
Yes. You know, from our perspective, we'll typically look to see what the client's decision has been around integration platform selections. You know, on occasion, we'll have a client that will want to do a true transformation where they put the integration platforms on the table for like an RFP along with the other, like kind of the core Salesforce elements that we've been talking about in marketing automation and so on and so forth. But pretty much all of the major integration platforms have the ability, and in most cases, pre-built connectors to Salesforce. And so that allows for us to, you know, really not have that be a sticking point for our clients for their internal systems. The one that I will call out, we're starting to see more clients request for agent sync to be deployed and that allows for you know, license and appointment checks in real time back to Nipper. And so that's a spot where we'll see that come in to make sure that the, you know, the agents that are requesting things to sell are actually agents as opposed to trying to sell something they're not licensed for. Technically, that isn't like an internal system, right? Because that's managed by the insurance boards, but that would be the other one I would call out in that space.
Because we have so many producers and consumers of data at our organization, we use PubSub model. So we have Kafka as our streaming system, and we use Salesforce CDC and PubSub API to send out data and also to consume data. And so our systems are very much a consumer and producer driven data model. If you need to consume some data, you go to Kafka and register to those streaming data sources. And then we also have very sophisticated data warehouse, data office that helps us to identify how to register those fields and objects in a timely way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think what you're all hitting on as well is what is the, as you're working with your, either your business or your customers, what is the customer data strategy? What is necessary? What is the system of record? Because I think that we can overload information, but we need to focus on, what is critical, and then how is the data managed, and how does the customer manage the data? I've had, customers use a lot of different tool sets, MuleSoft being one, but only being one in a package. And it doesn't really matter what your tool set is if you don't have a strategy for how you're managing your data, both short and long term. And I think that that's part of the conversation we need to make sure that is happening as well, is what is the strategy around data? How are you moving forward? What is the next 5 years going to look like from a system perspective, from a governance perspective, all of those type of things. It's really critical to have some of those more strategic conversations along with the technical conversation.
Thank you.
Awesome. Any other current challenges you all are facing today, or that you have other groups facing? I'm curious. I know that we have some people on the call who are using WordPress for a lot of things. Are you using the, I guess, Experience Cloud now? Is that what it's called? The communities at all, or is WordPress kind of taking the place of that, or how is?
So, it really depends. I mean, obviously there's a financial and a technical lift with Experience Cloud. Everybody who has a website, and we regularly work with agencies on, the marketing front end. If they're trying to intake and gain new customers through some type of flow, and the customers are already on the website, trying to get them to have something that looks good and that meets the marketing demands, and they can have graphic designers and marketing agency type people get that front end to look good. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to do with Experience Cloud, although you can do it, and we've seen some really great ones. But so WordPress is a really easy way for us to quickly embed forms onto sites that then come and flow through and build policy shells that then the sales agents get assigned, and all those flows and everything on the Salesforce side, whether it's round robin and how those assigned, Salesforce, we can do all the automation there. But being able to very quickly put those essentially automated call scripts and what you would ask people to be able to get them the right information to be able to quote to them, and then either to push into a multi-rater, we built all that out. And so it's super easy for us to deploy that for WordPress-based sites, but we could definitely do, the same forms and the same flows would work in Experience Cloud. It's just a matter of getting somebody to chunk, their current, front end and say, hey, we're going to go to a different platform. And right now, we just haven't seen anybody who has the appetite. But there are people that we're working with that are using Experience Cloud for servicing and some of the case management after the fact when somebody has a policy with that agency. We're hoping for something new to come down the pike. I know that Salesforce contributed about $1 billion to Automatic, the parent of WordPress, and so we're hoping to see more, tight integration with that, and hopefully there'll be, cross-platform, widgets and apps and things like that. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. For our clients that have WordPress, we'll see them use things like web to case to get data into Salesforce. But where we see them willing to make that step into Experience Cloud is when they want to go from an unauthenticated to an authenticated experience for the users. That gives them the ability to once they log in, to be able to see the list of all their policies that are out there, and do transactions in ways that need to be trusted. But typically it ends up being that sort of decision, the fundamental experience of the user changes, and therefore there's a decision to make that additional investment.
How about real-time communications with agents and policyholders? What are you guys seeing? I know that I've got a couple of clients who are trying to get, two-way text messaging and the ability to auto communicate where people really want to talk, right? Which is unfortunately on these things all the time. And so what are you guys seeing from that aspect, from a mobile perspective, from a different solution? Are you seeing, like a Pardot or a Marketing Cloud type situation able to fulfill those needs? Are they having to go to like a Haymarket or a Twilio or some of those other tools in order to make sure that, as an example, an agent gets a text message when their policyholder's application is in NIGO state, and making sure that they have the ability to quickly push that through, change the information, and those are the kinds of, I guess, advanced features that I'm seeing that people are trying to get their hands on right now, just because the entire world is mobile, and trying to push that so that it doesn't just work on the platform itself, but also making it that it's super easy and convenient, and not having to, have lost that experience that you were trying to create by having it all on one platform and not having to go to multiple apps on your phone or those kinds of things. How is everyone working through that within their organizations or with their clients?
I mean, we're seeing that, across the board, but it's all different consumers within the agencies. So marketing is using, one thing. So like they're using Klaviyo, or they're using SMS Magic to push stuff out. Some of them are using VoIP integration these solutions are probably, I'm going to say, not super flexible and not tightly coupled to Salesforce with the CTI and having things go back and forth. But like the other piece to it is, how do you solve the issue of, and I think what you were referring to is somebody gets a text message that's important, that agent isn't around, and how do you round robin it or get it to somebody else who's like their spine buddy or their desk buddy to be able to make sure that gets answered. And I think a lot of that's getting lost. And then, the other piece is like, how do you identify and have a single phone number that travels everywhere? We've been looking at Dialpad as a solution, and it does quite a bit of what you'd want to do, but it's not made for sending, mass outbound marketing to, the people, either your prospects or your current, customer base. So it really is this thing, like it's kind of an evolving space, and a lot of people are piecemealing it together. And this whole concept of shadow IT inside of the organizations, marketing is buying one thing, the sales and BD guys are doing something else, and then service is trying to have something. And I'm mostly concerned right now with somebody sending a text message and making any kind of change to a policy or trying to initiate anything when it's super easy to spoof an SMS. And so it's really a interesting space. And I'd say that we've looked at probably 3 or 4 dozen different solutions, and they're all, there is no one size fits all. I think that if you really truly wanted to do it, I think you would build out everything custom with Twilio. I was really excited at one point about Lightning Voice, but I don't think that they're actually going to sell it to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I would echo what Jeff's saying. We are getting more requests, less requests on an advisor to client level, and now more requests on a group of advisor to client level. That we are moving into a team-based approach of how to sell products, how to service products to a client. And the team has a makeup of different types of individuals, different types of roles. And so we are changing the way that Salesforce works and how we do security and sharing, so that to accommodate the team and the different applications and the way that Salesforce works to accommodate the team. And it's changing the way that we work as architects to think about how the data works, how these applications work, and how the underlying services work. But you talked about how to communicate to the client. One of the things that came up was surveys. Can we send surveys? And we had that come from marketing, from our advisors, and from the service departments. They all wanted to send surveys. And we came up with some different solutions, and then legal came in, and legal said, wait a second, you're sending a direct text message to a client And then how are you gonna make sure this and that, and how are you gonna store it back, and who's gonna know about this, and who's gonna, and so it became a very much a loaded question of how do you send a survey out via text message and then get the response back and know that that response is from the person and that it's actually going to the right people. It is a very difficult road to manage, and so you have to architect it correctly from the beginning to the end.
Those pesky lawyers, they always come into play, don't they?
Every project I'm on, I start with legal, and I say, what sort of roadblocks are we going to run into if I ask this question? I have to start there.
Yeah. How about anyone else? Are they running into issues with their legal departments or, compliance in general? I know that it's a highly regulated industry that we're in, which definitely doesn't make it as easy to consume and whatnot as, the retail space as an example, where they've got all these like fun, shiny things they get to do all the time, but it's, not regulated as much. So it doesn't matter if I, go buy a new purse and get a survey on that and it comes from Nicole instead.
Yeah, I think that what's you guys are all highlighting is the the legal rules, the protocols are built around a lot more of the traditional processes, and then changing those and all the considerations that have to go in. We even had a client that the legal team didn't want to support electronic signature. So of course, all the business users are like, let's go with electronic signature. And it took months and months of legal review, assessments, security assessments to actually even do a pilot around that. And I think that, for those of us who are in technology, it seems like, come on, that's an easy one. And that legal conversation is really critical because there are ramifications to, all of the regulation, to all of the back end stuff, to all the considerations. And it doesn't take much for a company to be really damaged by something not actually going well on some of the transformation and some of the digitization that's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, from our standpoint, we'll see kind of the overriding requirement is to ensure that all communication can be captured for surveillance purposes, right? So government likes to audit people. Nobody does anything wrong. It's just part of how they enforce the regulation. If you can't fulfill the request, it's a problem. But Danielle, back to your earlier question about tooling for external communication. Mm-hmm. To a large extent, we'll see different plumbing and solution selections based on the use case. So if we have a client that just wants to send like, thank you for submitting a quote, one-time email, there's several different ways to do that, all the way out to the other end of the spectrum where you want to start to get to a preference center so somebody can manage, do I want to get this via a mobile app push or a text or an email or an outbound phone call, right? And then having a series of communications that are strung together and managed. Like that's all the way on the other end of the spectrum. And the plumbing for those two are very different things. The big piece for us around text messaging is if it's a one-time push or it needs to be bi-directional. If you need to be able to text and have a conversation over text, some of the marketing specific tools don't allow for that, especially if you want to do it in the context of a service interaction, right? So then we're more talking about some things that are embedded under Service Cloud now. But we also see some of the Omni, the workforce management components actually being driven on the telephony platforms as well. So specific Advantage, that's the spot where we've seen that a bunch now. And they can do outbound dialers and start to bring that communication channel into the mix, where it's a little bit of a uniqueness about that platform.
And as you guys are thinking of that overall communication strategy, what departments are you guys seeing own that? Is it an IT? Is it a customer service? Is it a marketing? Is there a governance that's put in place for that? I feel like with all the clients that I've worked with, it's been very different, depending on which client I go into. So who really owns that? Who's in charge of that? Danielle Laffey comes in as a lead who's not a customer yet and turns into a policy holder, and you continue to service her and get claims and those kinds of things all the way through. Like, who owns me as an individual communication module? Is there a specific department that you guys are seeing?
Well, again, the answer depends, right? Because we'll see it both in terms of a lead, business term lead for policyholder, but we'll also see it for agency leads or producer leads. If we're talking about more of a transactional interaction, then it typically ends up being whichever sales department directly owns that relationship. If we're talking about only a service interaction, then we'll see someone out of ops own that. But if we're looking at the overall, if we have a client that's coming to us and saying, we want to manage that end-to-end journey, marketing almost 100% of the time.
Yeah, I was going to say mostly it's marketing that's driving a lot of that I've seen with IT support.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I know that we only have a couple of minutes left. This has been an awesome conversation. I'm super excited, and I'm actually getting ideas for new topics later on down the road, so we can do some deep dives into some of these things and get some of these additional vendors and things in here as well. Any closing remarks specifically? Is there anything that you would like to leave the group with? Is there this like really cool shiny new thing that you're most excited about for 2022, or what's the one problem that you wish that you can solve in 2022 that you would say on December 31st when that ball drops or is in the process of dropping, you're like, yes, I did this year. Anyone have any New Year's resolutions, if you will, for your insurance clients?
Everyone wants us to solve the issue with Ivan's data, and then also actually being able to process and consume and properly process commissions data from the carriers.
Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
And those are just two simple little things we should be able to solve.
Nicole's on it.
Still January. Still January.
Right.
I've got one other thing. I think this is really good. I signed up for this. I wasn't sure what the format was or who would be coming. For some reason, I did one of these before, and I think it was like with the British team from Salesforce. And it was fine. It was good information. But I feel like the networking and the just being able to hear other people, a wide breadth of experience and whether they're client, consultant, making products for the insurance industry. I think it's hard to connect with people without knowing that there's a group. And I know that the Trailblazer in the forums and stuff, is that where everybody's going to collaborate and stuff? Are you guys going to conference, or did you go into the InsurTech conference in Vegas or doing the online things? What's everybody like to do to be able to collaborate and communicate? Dump a giant open-ended question like with 30 seconds.
I went to InsurTech and I went to Diggin this last year, so that was good. Still kind of small, so this next year hopefully we'll get a little bit bigger, a little bit better. Forums, these kind of things, that's generally.
Danielle and I are probably quite biased. We're hoping that people come here for that information. that is what we hope to kind of create here is, have everybody be able to come together, have a different variety of perspectives and kind of see what we're seeing in the marketplace, especially around Salesforce and how things are integrating and the solutions and issues that we're seeing and the challenges. And so hopefully we can, if you have any questions, we are always happy for you to post things on the forum and get some of those conversations going, because at least we're kind of in a similar tunnel.
That's great. Thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, we're always looking for new topics as well. So again, as we've kind of gone through a myriad of topics here, we'll probably be doing some follow-ups, and we'll definitely be looking to try and get a couple of these vendors out here to talk to us about their how they're going to fix it for us by the end of 2022. Wonderful. Well, I appreciate everyone's time today. I know we are like right up on the hour, so I'm just going to do a big thank you. Thank you to the open discussion from everyone. You know, I had a couple of people here that I wanted to be as kind of panelists, but you all kind of opened up, and I really appreciate the open discussion. I will definitely be posting this out. I'll probably even create a little blog or something about it as well, so that you guys can kind of recap this as needed, and just appreciate it. So be looking for upcoming events. We have one coming up in February that we are going to be talking to a couple of the insurance Golden Hoodie owners. They're going to come in and chat with us for a little bit, and got a couple of other exciting topics that are coming up. So make sure that you continue to look at the community, put your questions out on the forum. I would love to see that become a little bit more active in general. And thanks all for your time today. You all have a fabulous rest of your Tuesday.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank you.